The reason we know basically anything about C Street and the secretive religious group behind it, the family, is because of Jeff Sharlett's 2 books on the subject. The family is most famous for operating C Street, a secretive subsidized dorm for members of Congress in Washington. It was linked to the Governor Mark Sanford sex scandal and the Senator John Ensign sex scandal and the Congressman Chip Pickering sex scandal. But as Jeff Sharlett has reported, the deeper reaches of the family are bigger than sex scandals. The groups essentially helped along a number of super shady causes and characters in countries around the world for decades, including some of the worst dictators in modern history. As part of Jeff's ongoing reporting on the activities of the secretive religious group, he has been keeping us updated on the Kill the Gays bill promoted by the family's key man in the nation of Uganda, a member of parliament named David Bahati. It was also Jeff who let us know that David Bahati had been granted a visa to come to America. David Bahati is here now. He sees this trip as an opportunity to promote here his Kill the Gays bill. Joining us now for the interview is the member of parliament in Uganda who introduced the bill and is promoting it, Mr. David Bahati. Mr. Bahati, thank you very much for your time, sir. It's nice for you to make time for us.
Yeah, great to be at your talk show.
You were granted a visa, as I understand it, to attend a conference in Washington, the International Consortium of Governmental Financial Management. I understand that it's been reported that you were not allowed into the conference once you arrived. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. One of the reasons they gave was that because of the bill that I proposed in Parliament, their denial for me to enter the conference was extremely unfortunate, but as I said, does not deter me from pursuing a cause that I think is important, a cause to defend the children of our country, and a cause to defend the family of Uganda.
In the cause that you describe as defending the children and the family in Uganda, it's your anti-homosexuality bill, and the provisions of that bill would establish life in prison for any homosexual act, as well as execution for what the bill calls aggravated homosexuality. How is that defending the children and the families of Uganda?
You know, Rachel, we have a huge problem in our country. The problem of people who are coming from abroad, investing in money to recruit children into a behavior that we believe that is a learned behavior and can be unlearned. We know that homosexuality is a human right here in Uganda, but also we need to appreciate the fact that it is not a human right across the world, and certainly in Uganda we don't take it as a human right. And as we debate this issue, it is important that we do tolerate one another, listen to one another, understand the background of one another, and respect one another. And the background that I come from is that 95% of the population does not support homosexuality. We believe that man was created to marry a woman, and that's the purpose for which God created us, a purpose for procreation, and that's a higher purpose that we believe in. We believe that our children should not be recruited in something that they don't believe in. The clause that you are suggesting in the bill, that you are talking about in the bill, that proposes death penalty, was actually a small clause in the bill which was imported from a bill that we passed in 2007 regarding defilement of children. It's a clause meant to discipline those adults who defile minors. And by the way, it is a clause that, because of the international outcry, that I'm very much willing to drop when the bill comes to the House for debate.
It should be noted that among the 7 different clauses of aggravated homosexuality is one where you are eligible for execution if you are a serial offender. Does that mean that if you are a person who has been convicted more than once of homosexual sex, would that make you a serial offender and eligible for the death penalty?
I know there has been a lot of spin, negative propaganda about this bill using that clause, and I want to make the record straight. I am not in a hate campaign. I do not hate gays. I love them, but at the same time I must protect our children who are being recruited into this practice.
So what evidence do you have for the recruitment of children into homosexuality? That allegation has been made to justify all anti-gay legislation in the United States going back for more than a generation. It is a claim that is rejected by all, for example, major medical organizations in the United States and by all other responsible authorities that have looked into it. You're saying specifically that foreigners are investing in Uganda to recruit children into homosexuality. I've heard claims like that over and over again. I have never, ever heard any credible evidence of it.
Rachel, I need to tell you that it is not an allegation. It's a fact that recruitment is taking place in Uganda, especially in single-sex schools. It's a fact that is very disturbing. It's a fact that is not only disturbing people who don't believe in homosexuality. Even the pro-gay groups have condemned this. So it is something that is factual, and all you need is to get these facts. And I will be very willing to publish these facts.
I have heard a lot of other people ask you for evidence on this. I have heard you assert that it is fact. I have never, as I said, seen any evidence that is fact. How, for example, do you suggest that children are recruited into homosexuality? If you wanted to recruit somebody into homosexuality, how would you do it? And what do you think the tactics are?
I can tell you that in the last 7 months, there has been a lot of investment in terms of money. Close to $15 million has been invested to fight the bill, but also to recruit children. And this is how they do it. They go into a school, they recruit some people, teach them, entice them with money, to lure them into these practice. And this is something that is disturbing everybody. This is something that disturbs, and I'm sure you're also being disturbed about this fact.
To be clear, sir, you're saying that $15 million is being spent in Uganda in the past 7 months, not only to oppose the bill, but to give money to teachers to go into schools to pay kids to become gay. That's your assertion? Not to pay teachers, but to use, they recruit young people. They pick on young people, recruit them, teach them on how to move, entice them. There are videos that have been moving around. Tell them that a man sleeping with a man is okay. So this is something that is really disturbing. And this is the focus of this bill, to protect our children. This is also
to defend the traditional family.
Sir, this is also one of the... I didn't expect to find much international commonality around debates over gay rights and homosexuality. But what you're describing is one of the foundational myths of how gay people have been slandered and attacked in almost every country in which these laws, or laws like the ones that you're proposing, has been debated. The idea, this myth that gay people are out recruiting kids, asserted as if it is baldly true, no evidence of it is ever been put forward in any way that can be evaluated, and every responsible authority who's ever looked into it says that it is a myth. If you think that there are videos out there of young people being recruited to homosexuality in Ugandan schools, why haven't you released them?
Well, we have enough evidence to this effect in Uganda. Ugandans have looked at this. We can publish it if you want on the internet so that everybody in the world can have a look at it. It's not a myth. It's a fact that this is happening. It is very disturbing that's happening to our children, and it is a cause that you and me should support to make sure that we protect the children of Uganda.
If you make homosexuality punishable by life in prison, or in some cases by execution, what do you think will happen to gay people in Uganda? Will they flee the country? Will they become straight? What do you expect that they will do? What will happen to them?
Rich, I think it is important that you don't use words that we don't use in our bill. We don't use the word execution. Don't make it so hard to look as if Bahati is a Hitler or is a Saddam Hussein or Idi Amin. I'm just a simple young man who lost both parents at the age of 3 years, grew up as an orphan. I have a passion for children, and this is what is really motivating me. I'm a God-fearing person. I want to make sure that this law is consistent with God's law.
To be clear, Mr. Bahati, I didn't call you Hitler or Saddam Hussein or Idi Amin. I didn't raise any of those issues, and I never would. And although you don't want to use the phrase execution, that's just a simile for the death penalty, which is part of your bill. And I realize you said you'd be willing to take that out. But let's even say that was taken out. I'll ask you the question again. If your bill succeeds and you make homosexuality punishable by life in prison in Uganda, what will happen to gay people in Uganda? What do you expect to happen to them? Do you expect that they will become straight? Do you expect that they'll flee the country? Do you expect that they will be arrested and imprisoned? What do you think will happen?
Well, Rachel, first of all, I want to say that I know that homosexuality is a human right here now in America, but we don't believe that it's a human right in Uganda. And we understand your side of the story, and we respect you and ask you to also understand our side of the story. Now, if we take it as a crime, then anybody who is engaged in this will face the rule of law. And this, I think, is straightforward. It's obvious. We hope that it's a learned behavior that can be unlearned.
Okay, I used the word simile when I meant synonym. I know, sue me, I'm sorry. Where do you think he gets that idea that homosexuality can be cured, it can be unlearned? Please stay tuned, there's more.